一番下の紐を親指にかけて、真ん中の紐をまた親指で取るんです。
Kasumi。
それで、
Sumika。
そして両手を広げます。ごめんなさい。最初からやりましょう。
あんただってなんとなく想像していたんじゃないの？
I'm pretty sure I did actually. About what?
鏡すみかの居所よ。
Huh?
この紐をここにかけて。
ヤシロの能力は知っているわよね。
Mm-hmm.
反対側に指を通して。
ヤシロがなぜここに四六時中いたのか、
Mm-hmm.
これでわかったでしょ？
Go on. Huh?
こっちにも通します。
Come on, together, look up, realize which room you're in.
ヤシロだけが唯一の話し相手だったのよ。
What?
いつまで目をそらしているつもり？ここまで来
come on,
て
look
お
up,
じけ
buddy.
づいた？
No.
真実が知りたいって言ったのは。
Wait, are you saying what I think you're saying? Mm-hmm. She was right there the whole time. Notice how the brain jar is now empty?
そういうこと。
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. She's been right here the whole time. I'm pretty sure, like, I don't think I, like really was convicted when I said it back in Unlimited, but I think at one point I was just like, oh, wait, is Sumiko the brain? I think at one point I just kind of, like, said that and just kind of forgot about it, but, like, I think I just, for a brief moment I said it, and I just completely called it out of nowhere, but yeah. She's been the brain, in the brain room, this entire fucking time. She existed, but we never knew where she was, because obviously we couldn't recognize her by the appearance of her brain. But anyway, Yuko's got much more to say. Go on. That thing was Sumika? Mm-hmm. And the reason Kasumi took on Sumika's traits is because she was constantly interacting with Sumika because she was in this brain room 24/7. And it actually goes back, one thing I remembered is, like, when they first started their experiments earlier in Alternative, when they first started the experiments, started sending Takeru back to this world, for a couple days there, they had Takeru and Kasumi eating breakfast in the brain room. Like, they made it a point to do that. And now it makes sense, knowing that when Takeru came back from the experiment, he kept talking about Sumika, how he met Sumika. So then, of course, you know, Yuko's gonna think, oh shit, that's the name of the bitch in the jar. Well, maybe if we keep, you know, both Kasumi and Takeru around, you know, the brain in the jar, this Sumika, that maybe it'll have a positive effect on the experiments. Makes sense. Sumika. That brain was Sumika all along? No, this can't be happening. Here I was, always thinking about how creepy and weird it was. But why? How did she end up like that? What did she ever do to deserve this? Was this a part of your research too? You didn't turn her into some sort of human guinea pig, did you? I mean, you told us a ghost story that went something like that in the previous timeline. What if that wasn't just a rumor, and Sumika was one of the test subjects? I can't...
1999年8月5日に始まった明星作戦。
The opening cutscene we saw at the very beginning of the game. Huh?
いわゆる大東亜連合軍による本州島奪還作戦は2発の G 弾によって人類の勝利で終わった。
Right. Okay. Operation Lucifer.
その結果、人類は初めて敵の背部を占領した。この横浜基地がその上に建設されたことは 前に話してあるわね。
Yes, you have.
背部内に残存するベータを殲滅するために最深部を目指して突入した部隊が発見したのよ。ベータの
The beta took prisoners?
正確に言えば人間だったものよ。
Huh?
彼らが見たものは青白く光る無数の柱。
Glowing pillars.
その中にはおそらく捕虜になっていたと思われる人間たちの脳と脊髄が収められていた。何百とあった脳髄で生きていたのはたった一つだけだった。
And that was...
それが鏡住処よ。ベータの捕虜になって
the only one?
もちろん名前が判明したのは作戦から数週間後、ヤシロがリーディングで読み取ったのよ。
God. And I was thinking about that too after I finished recording this for the first time. Is the fact that, yeah, like, Sumika had her brain and spine removed from her body. Like, obviously this shit was going to be traumatic, but this happened in 99, which means that Sumika would have only been 16 when they discovered her. When this actually happened, she was obviously younger. How much younger, we don't know though. So like, her brain at that point in time was 16. It had existed for 16 years. When it was actually removed from her body, she would have been younger. Much younger. Probably much younger. So like, like when you wonder like why does she act the way she does, you know, now, I mean, it's obviously the incredible trauma from going through that shit and, yo, being a fucking brain in a jar, but still fully, yo, conscious of your surrounding. Well, not necessarily conscious, because like she'll say here in a minute, like she obviously didn't have access to any of her senses. She couldn't see, she couldn't touch, couldn't smell, couldn't taste, all of this, because she was just a brain. But being fully aware that you're still alive, but you're a brain, and you have no actual awareness of your surroundings, like that's another thing that's gonna fucking come into play and fuck with you even further. But another thing to consider as to why, yo, she seems so underdeveloped as she is, that her brain got removed when she was a young teenager. When she was like, yo, in her young teens maybe, probably like 13, 14, is just my random guess. I'm guessing it was like, this probably happened like a year or so before they actually discovered her. So like, imagine being like 14 and your fucking brain gets ripped out of your fucking body. You have to go through that trauma, but imagine how developed you were at 14. Imagine who you were at 14, you know? And then imagine all this trauma built up. And now imagine being a brain trapped in a jar. Let's say since she was, 14, and currently now she would be 18. 4 years of just darkness, of nothing. Only being able to communicate mentally with Kasumi. And that's only after they discovered her. That was only like, several years later, probably. Like, it's not, like, because that was something that, like, I first had questions when, she was first introduced as the 00 unit. I'm like, why is she like that? If that's truly Sumika, why is she the way that she is? But like, you think about just all these different factors, like, it's honestly surprising she's not worse, But anyway, Yuko, by all means, go on.
人間を脳と脊髄だけの状態で生かしたままにしておく技術は残念ながら人類はまだ持っていない。この基地にあるベータが作った施設が稼働状態のまま維持されている理由は鏡住処を生かしておくためなのよ。
And this, when Sumika got into her accident in the corrupted extra world, Yuko said, well, maybe the effect came before the cause. Maybe something happened to Sumika in the other world, but it just hadn't happened there yet. But because of all this causality shit, it was happening sooner. My original thought was, it takes the most recent that this, Takeru as a conductor takes like the most recent events and brings them forward. So I thought the reason that Marumo's thing happens first, and then there's this couple day delay before anything happens to Sumika is because Sumika's event was so far back, and I thought that her accident was connected to what happened with her in the beta. But what I thought about as it was happening, that I had a new theory about, was the fact that Sumika's accident was because Yuko says that she completed the 00 unit the day after Takeru ran away back to the other universe, and the causality information doesn't catch up right away, because like Takeru came back and it wasn't like immediately Marumo was dead, it was like the next day or so. So then, obviously the next day, that day when Marumo died in the corrupted extra universe, was also the day when Yuko finished the 00 unit, which, okay, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. She has one more thing to say before I complete this theory. Go on. Why would the beta keep human brains captive? Like, I just remembered as I was saying this, I'm like, wait, there's one detail she hasn't, told us yet that I would have fucking spoiled right then and there, but no, I'll let her say it. But what were they even doing with them? But they don't even see us as living creatures. Yay. A godsend. Right. Ideal candidate? Raw material. Jesus, dude, you're just an echo at this point. Huh?
この基地の英士訓練学校はその前の段階である候補者の選抜をする機関として設立され、教えておくが、我が部隊は全員同じ英士訓練学校、いや、むしろ A01 部隊のために。
So that's what it was. But why would you send such valuable candidates out in the most life-threatening missions?
その程度の任務で死ぬような因果を持った人間に人類の未来は任せられないのよ。
When you say causality, do you mean like they don't have luck and timing on their side?
運とか言われているものを因果律量子論的に言えば、各個人に先天的に備わっている、より良い確率分岐する未来を引き寄せる能力に他ならない。
Right, they want someone who, attracts these more favorable outcomes. And what more favorable of an outcome is there than, coming into contact with the beta and being taken prisoner and surviving? Like, that's an incredibly favorable outcome, in a sense. There was probably times when she was just a brain that she probably prayed for death, because that does not sound like a pleasant existence. But, like, clearly the fact that she survives that encounter shows it's like, oh yeah, no, she definitely attracts some incredibly favorable outcomes. If she managed to survive through all that shit. Like, all these other candidates, like, could they survive, being taken prisoner by a beta? Probably not, but we have someone we know for a fact did. Right. I think the other Yuko-sensei mentioned that's how fortune tellers and psychics do their thing. I see. So then, everyone from my old squad. Huh? In what way? So then, they really were political hostages.
人質と取るか帝国への配慮と取るかは
But we ended up getting commissioned ahead of schedule in the end.
人質としての利用価値がなくなったのか、それとも
Either
配慮
way.
すべき理由が消滅し、いずれにせよ00ユニット完成のめどが立ったことも大きな
Excuse me. I'm not sure I understand though. Why did the 00 unit need to be made from a human being who meets these criteria?
今までの説明では理解できない
Well, we pilot our TSFs by indirect thought control, right? So normal computers are already capable of reading and digitizing human thoughts.
00ユニットに要求されている役割は通訳、ベータとコミュニケーションを成立させることで情報を収集する。わかりやすく。
So, she's a spy?
あんたは前のこの世界の私が半導体150億個分の並列処理装置が完
Yes.
それこそがボトルネックなのはこの世界でも同じだった。半導体150億個分の並列処理装置。あんたの話じゃ計画が取り潰されて自暴自棄になっていたらしいけど半導体150億個分の並列処理装置、それは00ユニットの頭脳に当たるもの。
Like, even from the moment she first said it, I was like, that sounds like somewhat like a brain, like you're trying to build a brain. A quantum conductive brain?
ベータ由来の高温超伝導物質グレイ9で作られた人
Sorry, you lost me. What the hell is Grey 9?
ロスアラモス研究所のウィリアム・グレイ博士が発見した旧グレイ9の臨界温度は309ケルビン、すなわち室温以上で超伝導が可能な物質なのよ。
And how did they get their hands on it, if it's only found in beta hives? I mean, it's almost like the base is sitting on top of it, but anyway.
ロスアラモスはね、カナダに落ちたベータユニットの調査研究を独占したアメリカの国立研究機関なのよ。
America, huh? That explains it.
まあ、恨み事はどうでもいいわ。
From the hive below this base, I assume.
その通り。アメリカが明星作戦に強制介入したのも、数々の人類未発見元素の独占が狙い。
I see.
話を戻すわ。量子電導脳は量子コンピュータと同じ原理で、誤解覚悟で簡単に言うと、00ユニットが存在するすべての他の世界の量子電導脳がつながっていて、並列処理をする。
But how many timelines would that be? I mean, fuck. I mean, there's no way of actually calculating that. If this 00 unit is such a fucking miracle, and the fact that it took Takeru jumping between dimensions to actually make it happen, how many could there honestly be where it was complete in a different timeline? Well, and that's the thing. There's an infinite amount of universes where Takeru does all the same shit again. It gets complete, but then the 00 unit itself makes different choices, and that branches off in a different time. It's fucking time travel and interdimensional shit. It's all messy. Anyway, that's insane.
そうね。だけど、そこに人格や人間性が宿らなければ、ただの機械と同じ。あんたがこの世界に現れた頃は、その量子電導脳に数値化した人格を移植する段階でつまずい。
So then, everything else was ready?
ええ、完成していたわ。
I see. So this whole time, there'd been an artificial body made to look exactly like Sumika, somewhere in this base, on some floor I didn't have security clearance to access.
組対候補者の経験や記憶、技能や性格は、そのまま量子電導脳に移植されなければ。
And that's why you enrolled the most promising candidates in the Surface Pilot Training Academy.
そうよ。地球の運命を握る存在となるんだから、人類に対する忠誠心や使命。
Sure, makes sense.
あんたが持ってきた数式のおかげで問題は解決した。だけど、鏡隅理論やデータは当然入力済みだけど、だからって実践できるかどうか。そこで本来お役御免の A01 部隊がその代わりを。
So I was right then. The captain said we were supposed to protect a certain something. She was talking about the 00 unit.
もともと00ユニットになるための教育を施されている A01 部。
So then, the others aren't potential candidates anymore?
依然として鏡隅香のスペアであることはだけど、鏡隅香が完全稼働すればこれ
What do you mean by that?
00ユニットになるということは人間という生物ではなくなることを意味する。A01 部隊の損耗が激しい理由は 何も戦死者だけが原因じゃな。
You mean some of them were incapacitated due to human experimentation?
廃人？残念だけど、そんなに都合の良い部分だけを選んで移植するなんて細かい
Yeah,
情報
no,
は
they
まだ
did.
できないの。心臓を動かす、呼吸をする、そういう情報もすべてごっそり移植するのよ。脳からすべての情報を失った生物がどうなるか、つまりそういうこと。
Meaning they die in the process.
00ユニットに外見だけじゃなく、人間と寸分たがわない疑似器官や生態
That's
機能
why
が
it had to
与
be
えられているのは
So humanoid because the brain needs things to control. If the brain feels like it's not in a human body,
存在するべき器官がなくなると、脳の生理バランスが崩れ、精神崩壊を起こし、最終的には人間だった部分は死んでしまう。それを維持する機能だけは未だにベータの技術に頼らざるを得ないんだけどね。
then does that mean you and I just killed this world Sumika effectively?
ええ、そうよ。でも、直接手を下した
And
のは
that's the one detail I was
あんたは何も
waiting for them to say is like, yeah, no. They killed what's left of Sumika's human part, essentially. Essentially what kept her a human. Like, technically, she's mentally still a human, I guess. But that's the thing I was talking about with Sumika's accident in the corrupted extra world. It happened about a day or so, maybe 2 days, after Yuko finished the 00 unit, where she transferred this Sumika's, personality and conscious into the machine, effectively killing off Sumika. But as the Yuko in the corrupted extra world mentioned, is that yes, Sumika wasn't technically dead. She was still alive in a sense. And in a sense, this world's Sumika is still alive as well, because her consciousness still lives on within the 00 unit. So what I originally thought when I first recorded this was that what caused Sumika's accident in the corrupted extra world was her original encounter with the beta way back in fucking 19 when the fuck ever. But now what I thought about more as I've been replaying all this is that it probably wasn't that. It was probably Yuko transferring Sumika's consciousness into the machine, killing off her human side essentially, which then effectively killed off Sumika in this other world. But just like this alternative Sumika wasn't truly dead, in a technical sense, the corrupted extra Sumika isn't technically dead. She's been confirmed as being still alive, but as the corrupted extra Yuko kept saying, it's like she's alive, but it's not going to be much of a life worth living, is essentially what she was implying, when Takeru was like, oh, I hope one day she'll be able to cook again, and that Yuko was just like, yeah, sure, buddy, anyway. So yeah, that's the big thing that's been rolling around in my brain this whole fucking time. And honestly, I'm just happy I got to fucking say it and get it off my chest, because goddamn, I've been thinking about this whole time, but I knew I wouldn't be able, but I knew I couldn't fucking talk about it, because if I talked about it any sooner than this, it would spoil so much about what was going to be fucking revealed. Even if you predicted a lot of this shit, like, I just wanted to make sure, But anyway, yeah, that's what's been rolling around in my brain. And now my head is clear. By all means, Yuko, please continue. Why does this keep happening? Just when I think I've overcome one hurdle, reality slaps me in the face with some other cruel, fucked up truth. Is this part of what it means to be a causality conductor? Do I just have to grin and bear it? Even if she was nothing more than a brain and spine at that point, she was still alive, right? And yet, by bringing those equations back here, for the sake of the world and all of humanity, I inadvertently had a hand in Sumika's death. It's not something I can easily accept, even if she was just a brain.
定義や解釈はいろいろあるけど、ある意味、加賀美澄香はあの状態で生きていた。そして今、加賀美澄香だった脳髄の生命活動はすでに停止している。残っているのはただの標本。
The hell did you just say?
鏡スミカを殺したのは私。ベータは生きたままバラバラにしただけ。
Like, I know why she's doing this. She's purposely trying to rile Takeda up, but at the same time, it's like, don't fucking say these things.
どうしたの？私が許せない？
Nope, that's not it at all. That's a gun.
貸してあげる
Huh?
わ。武器を持ったままじゃこのフロアには来られないはずよね。
What are you playing at?
許せないなら私を撃ちなさい。遠慮はいらないわ。あんたなら片手で撃っても外さないでしょ。
Why would it matter how many hands I use? Anyway. What, you think I'm gonna fucking jerk off while I'm anyway.
どうしたの？あんたの大切な鏡スミカを殺した人間が目の前にいるのよ。何も教えないで鏡スミカを殺す片棒をあんたに担がせた張本人なのよ。なんなら後ろ向いてあげようか？それとも場所を変える？ヤシル
I
の
mean,
前でや
yes,
りに
but
くい
also
で
it's
しょう
not
か
the
ね。
issue. There's no need for any of that.
じゃあ早く終わらせてちょうだい。
Please put the gun away. I don't need it.
そうね。あんたなら素手でも十分人を殺せるんだってわ
I
ね。
mean, I would be able to, but once again, that's not the point. Stop it. I'm doing nothing of the sort. Now put that away.
何よ。人を殺すのが怖いの？
No, it's not that.
じゃあ、言ってごらんなさい。なんだっていうの？
人の上に立つということは多くの責任を背負い、国家や組織はその寄って立つところが違えば、それは人も同じです。何かなそうとすれば必ずそれを良しとする者と悪しとする者がいるでしょう。されどそれぞれの立場に立ってものを見ることができれば、そして悲しいことですが、それらすべての者たちの望みを満たす道が、その時そなたは何によって決断し、どのよその時もしそなたに迷いがあったなら原点を顧みること、そして自らの手を汚すことを。
Sensei, I don't think you're the kind of person who'd do these things just for the fun of it. You're just doing what you have to for the sake of all mankind, right?
あんたにとって鏡スミカはその程度だったの？
No. As far as I'm concerned, Sumika can never be replaced.
もう私を殺してもオルタネイティブ4は達成されるわ。そういう段取りはつけてある。あとは00ユニットの調律だけ。それはあんたがいれば大丈夫よ。
I already told you. It has nothing to do with that. I'm just a normal guy, you know? So the closer I am to someone, the harder it hits me when something happens to them. But more than that, it's just me being a pushover. I get so easily distracted by other people's problems, even when I know my own objective is more important. Like what happened with Her Highness and the old woman at Mount Tengen. It's like I just keep making the same mistake over and over again. Every time I think I've finally got my act together, something new happens and throws it all out the window. That said, I do feel like my resolve is much firmer now than it ever was before, so I'd like to think it won't be a problem anymore. If I'm being completely honest, it's really hard for me to accept the fact that Sumika's a 0-0 unit. It's all I can do just to cope. From what you've told me today, it sounds like this was always going on behind the scenes, even in the previous timeline. I just didn't know it was, right?
そうね。
And to be frank, the way Kasumi acted like her did make me wonder from time to time. But in the end, I always shrugged it off, convinced myself I should be glad Sumika didn't have to live in this messed up world. Which means, if you include the previous loop, I've gone several years now without ever once realizing that Sumika was here. Here I am, saying she means the world to me, that she can never be replaced, and yet I was completely oblivious. She was right there under my nose the whole time, and I couldn't even recognize her. When I think about it like that, I can't help but wonder if my feelings for her were really as deep as I thought they were. Hell, you could even make the argument that my feelings for her were highly dependent on her physical appearance. I'd have no rebuttal. I guess at the end of the day, I'm probably just afraid of getting my hands dirty, or coming off as a bad person. That thing was always just a creepy brain in a tube to me, but now that I know it was Sumika, I'm suddenly all broken up about what you did? That's some hypocritical bullshit. and I finally realized there's no point pretending otherwise. Until I actually start doing something differently, I can't expect things to change for the better, right? I've got no one to blame for this but myself. Sure, maybe you were the one who pulled the trigger, so to speak. And yeah, if I'm being honest, it does piss me off to think of all the shit you've been doing behind my back. But I mean, somebody has to do the dirty work, right? Otherwise we're just gonna go extinct. I don't want to be the judgmental coward anymore. The one that gets up on their soapbox and complains in hindsight about shit they couldn't possibly understand. Besides, I helped you of my own free will. I could try to shift the blame by saying I didn't know any better, but that won't change what happened to Sumika. And anyway, even if she is just a machine now, with the weight of the world on her shoulders, I still think she'd rather be the 00 unit and live the rest of her life as a brain in a stasis tube. I don't agree with the notion that life is always better than death, or that being kept alive is always a good thing. Facts.
命があれば良いという単純な問題ではない。そこに自分の意志があるかどうかが問題なのだ。それがタケルも考えてみてほしい。自分の
Sumika had everything but her brain and spine stripped away by the beta, but now she can see things with her own eyes again, and touch things with her own hands. She can speak to others and listen to how they respond. Who cares if it's a fake body? Having the ability to shape her own future is way more important than that. Maybe I have no right to make that decision for her. That's a responsibility I'm willing to bear. I'm gonna see this through to the end, get the 00 unit tuned to perfection. And then I'll protect her for as long as it takes to save this world, assuming I'm lucky enough to survive that long. I'm pretty sure there's a reason she had to be the one to become the 00 unit. Something only Sumika would be able to do. In that case, you could say it's her destiny to become the 00 unit and save humanity. Which kinda puts a new spin on the question of why I was sucked into this world and unwittingly roped into this mess. I'm no expert on the quantum causality theory, but I feel like it's because that was my destiny. Something only I could do.
私は混乱した挙句部下皮肉よね。戦争のせいで教師になれなかった私が兵士訓練学校の教官をやっているんだから。でもそれがあの時私が生き残った一人でも多くの兵士を1秒でも長生きさせるためにその経験を生かす。
I have to follow through with this. It's the only way I can ever atone. Not to mention, I still need to fix all the other worlds that got roped into this mess. I'm sure you already know this, but the other you told me that if I can eliminate the cause of this, then all the effects would follow suit. Or at the very least, I can fix all the timelines that originally branched off of this one. Isn't that right?
そうよ。あんたを因果動態にした原因を取り除けば可能だわ。
So, she really did know everything then. I'm telling you, Mrs. 874 steps ahead of you. Bruh. She knew I'd bring the causalities of Sergeant Jinguji's death and Sumika's tragic fate to that world when I left. Which means she also knew that what would happen to their other selves, and how everyone's memories of me would be strewn across the multiverse. And of course, she knew I wouldn't be able to take it, and would come running back to this world. She predicted all of it, I'm telling you. But even so, I'm the one who chose to run away. She didn't force me to. Trying to pin the consequences on her would just be pathetic. I can't keep blaming others for my mistakes. I need to take responsibility for what I've done. I know that everything stems from this world, so even if I do get rid of whatever made me into a causality conductor, that won't change how events played out here. But if there's a world I can help save, especially the one that I ruined by running away to it, I want to do everything I can. I'm going to stop wallowing in my own misery every time something goes wrong or challenges me emotionally. I know I must sound like a broken record at this point, but I really am done letting my emotions get the best of me in the heat of the moment. I won't hesitate or run away ever again. Once I've finished the job and done what I came here to do, that's when I'll let myself cry. So don't worry, I'm gonna destroy the beta, no matter what it takes.
それは頼もしいわね。あっちでは相当揉まれたわね。
Bitch. That's all I got to say about that. You knew exactly what was gonna happen to that world, didn't you?
そう。
You gave me a warning before I left. Said I might just erase myself. And you were right. When I realized what that meant, I actually was contemplating suicide.
そういう楽な道に逃げずに戻ってきたことには素直に感心したわ。
You did?
それはしないから安心して。あっちの私が 今度を繰り返したら怒鳴り込むって。
Huh? You talked to her? How the hell did you do that?
あんたと一緒にこの世界に来た白衣があったでしょ。
Hell yeah.
あれのポケットに手
Because
紙が
while,
入っていた。
you know, extra Yuko may not be Miss 888 steps ahead of you, you know, she's still pretty big-brained herself, alright? She's at least like a good, you know, 69 step. Oh, wait. Nice. I honestly just pulled a random number out of my head and it just 69. Dope. Anyway. Oh, right. That explains it. Makes a lot more sense. She probably wrote out everything that happened over there. I'm guessing most of it was stuff this Yuko sensei had already predicted, but it would have at least given her confirmation.
確かにあんたは成長したよね。逃
Oh,
げ出す
dude,
前
big
とは大違い
facts. Oh, I can't take credit for that. That was all you. In fact, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you're tooting your own horn.
この状況で気の利いた嫌味まで言えるようになったなんて。あんたへの評価をさらに修正する必要。
Oh yeah? Well, much obliged.
じゃあ今後はその成長に見合った扱いをしてあげなきゃね。
And what does that entail?
とりあえず情報開示のレベルを
By all
もう
means,
少
hit
し
me
だけ
with
上
it.
げることにするわ。
Oh, I don't know about that. You know what they say. Ignorance is bliss and all that.
冗談でもそんな甘ったれたこと言わないで。さっきの話だって賭けみたいなものだったんだから。
That pansy nonsense. Risk? What risk? Actually, I guess I see where she's coming from. I already ran away once, so she really was making a gamble by divulging all that to me. And it was certainly more than I needed to know for the purposes of my tuning job.
手に入れた情報を活かせもしないのに、ただ知りたいなんていう無責任なガキに付き合ってる暇はないわ。
Yeah, makes sense.
逃げ出す前のあんたはまさにそうだった。だから今のあんたにはそこまで話しても大丈夫だと評価されているってことを自覚しなさい。
I do.
それに自分の意志で
I did.
この世界に戻ってきたのを忘れ。
Of course. She's right. If I'd heard all this back on day one, I would have thrown in the towel right away. That means she wouldn't have gotten as much out of me as she did. So she made the right call, as much as I hate to admit it. I'm still pretty pissed off about a lot of things, but right now, I've got no choice but to do Yuko-sensei's bidding. If I ever want to save humanity and eliminate what made me a causality conductor, I'm going to need her. I don't have a lot of options, and she's my best bet at making it happen.
それじゃあそろそろこっちの話を始め
Let's
てい
get
いで
down
す
to
か。
business to defeat the beta. Yeah, beta. Not. You're gonna tell me how to tune the 00 unit?
まあそんなところね。その前に一つやることがあるけど、
That would be. She's scheming something again.
00ユニットの調律がうまくいったらどんなことが起こるかを先に教えておくわね。目標が見えている方が作業しやすいでしょ。
Fair enough. Meaning, you're only gonna tell me the bare minimum right now.
その通り。
Exactly.
時期が来たら詳細を伝えるわ。口だけじゃなく、自分がそれに足る人材だということを
That's fair.
証明してみせなさい。
Understood.
調律が完了した00ユニットは運用評価試験の後、最前線で情報収集を行う予定。
The front lines. We're not just gonna use the beta you've got in captivity?
当然それもやるわよ。だけど各個体の情報よりもベータの社会構造や
Okay, but how are you going to get that kind of intel? She didn't say I couldn't ask questions, so I might as well. What's worst that could happen is she'll refuse to answer.
00ユニットにはヤシロと同程度のリーディングとプロ
Huh?
オルタネイティブ4は3の成果を全て摂取しているんだから。
Fair.
そんな
Yeah, guess you've got a point.
だけど00ユニットと人工 ESP 発現体は本質的にだから戦略的価値がある情報を得るには最前線、最終的に背部突入部隊と同じ任務。
Sumika's gonna have to go right to the middle of enemy territory?
さっきも説明したけど A01 部隊がその中でも事情を深く知っているあんたには作戦中
Okay.
00ユニットの操縦訓練はもう始まっているけど運用評価し
How much time do I have?
1週間後の
Of
12
course.
月25日よ。
That's only a week from now. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do yet, so maybe that'll be plenty of time, but it sure doesn't feel like it. I know we're on a tight schedule here, but damn. I'll make it work.
泣き言や恨み言を言わなくなったわね。結構。
I mean, it's not like I'm totally emotionless now. I've just realized that there's no point in complaining about each and every little thing. Just gotta focus on making things happen and groan about it once the job's done.
00ユニットの使い方は分かったと思うけど、実はそこに大問題があってね。
And what's that?
直縁専任の部隊だけじゃなく、当然作戦に従事使える部隊がまだまだ足りないのよ。
What do you mean?
ストレートに言えば、この基地のほとんどの部隊が戦力に。トライアルの時の惨状見たでしょ。せっかく OS
The day Sergeant Jinguji died, when the beta attacked our base out of nowhere.
この1週間
Strange,
で
right?
どれだけの部隊、いえ、兵士がものになるか。
I mean, I'm not one to talk, but to be fair, they did catch us completely off guard.
横浜基地は後方だって勘違いしてふぬけていたのよ。日本も最
But almost all of our forces were unarmed to participate in the trial. And like you said, aside from my squad and A01, it was everyone's first time using the XM3. Do you have to be that critical of them?
A01 とあんたたちについては満足しているわ。あんたも機動
I mean, I was just...
後方ボケした連中の寝ぼけ面にはちょうどいい冷や
Well, we're definitely a lot more on edge now, it's for sure.
苦労して泉にベータを調達させた甲斐があったってものよ。
Which I was kind of suspicious of, because, like, during the evaluation, like, during the first trial, Takeru came out, was all happy. He's like, yeah, we did it. He ran to Yuko. He's like, listen, we fucking did it. We're fucking doing it. And Yuko's like, oh, I don't know. You never know what's gonna happen. And then that's when the beta fucking showed up. And, like, for a brief moment, I was like, wait a minute. No, did Yuko bring the beta in? And, turns out, yeah, she totally fucking did. Like, I dismissed it. Like, I was like, no, there's no way she'd bring beta in, right? No, she totally fucking did. Oh, she totally did. Procure beta. What is she talking about? Sensei?
あれ以来基地の正規軍は渋々だった XM3 の完熟訓練の顔色。
Sensei?
何？
I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say.
そう？
I mean, you're making it sound like you orchestrated the entire thing.
やっとわかったの？
Yes.
おめでたいわね。
Listen, this is Miss 895 steps ahead of you, alright? What are you surprised about? What are you surprised about?
公式発表は代謝機能低下処置装置の事故で再活性化した研
Yeah,
究
the
用のデータ
official
を逃
story,
がした
but
ことになっている。
this base is well known for covering up its bullshit. Research specimens? You had live beta in the base?
佐渡島からベータが来るってあんたが教えてくれたから準備万端で捕まえに行けたわ。
Huh?
ベータは人間の都合で動いてるわけじゃないでしょ。その行動は予測不能よ。どう動くかわからないベータの移動経路が全て分かっていたから捕獲は比較的簡単だったわ。
Effortless.
先月発生したベータ新潟上陸の際には2名が戦死し、その任務内容は戦闘の監視と記録。
I see. So that's how that happened. And all because I forewarned her. 2 people died, and another was gravely injured. You call that effortless? No, that's just the way this world is. So then, that's on me too. I had a hand not just in Sumika's death, but in the deaths of Sergeant Jinguji, those members of A01, and so many people on this base.
使ったら
Huh?
いつでもいいのよ。
The gun's always right there, and it's like, listen, appreciate the offer, but, I won't pretend I wasn't partially responsible for all of this, but even so, how goddamn cold can this woman possibly be? Oh, listen, Miss 904 steps ahead of you is not, she's not a warm person in any sense of the word. You don't want to see just how cold she can get, alright? Don't even go there. This woman is like the embodiment of does not give a fuck, alright? Either you're useful or you're not. That's what fucking Kasumi said earlier in the game. She's like, she either sees you as useful or she doesn't. Or no, she sees things as something she's interested in or something she isn't. Essentially, whether you're useful or not to her. That's the only way she views people, things, anything. That's the only way she views her surroundings, is whether or not they're useful. That's it. That's the only criteria. So listen, you're wondering how cold can she get. The real question should be, can she show any warmth at all? The answer is probably no. And yet, while I'm furious with her, while I'm so disgusted I can puke. Without people like her, we never stand a chance against the beta. If we didn't have people who were capable of such atrocities, humanity would have gone extinct ages ago. God damn it. Let's
話を
move on. We only have 7 days before the assessment. We can't waste any time. What?
あんた男の顔になってきたわね
Stop making fun of me. I may look calm, but I'm pretty damn furious right now.
それでいいのよ
Huh?
何も感じなくなったらベータと同じよ
That kinda contradicts what you usually tell me, but okay.
感情をコントロールしろと言っているだけ感情をなくせとは言っていない
I know that.
感情は人に喜びをもたらすけれどこの世で最も人を苦しめるものでもある感情をなくすということはその苦しみから逃げることよ感情が与えてくれる喜びを犠牲にしてね感情をコントロールすることは苦しみに立ち向かいそれに打ち勝つことその結果ささやかな喜びを享受できるなんてうまくできてるものね
Sensei.
これからあんたと私が進む先には死ぬことすら生ぬるいと感じるほどの地獄が待っているわその地獄に垂らされたか細い糸が00ユニットなのよ
I see.
それを完成させるのは白金
Hell
あ
yeah.
んたの仕事よ
Let's go. I know.
自分のことで精一杯のガキに00ユニットの調律なんて絶対これは男でなければ成し得ない仕事なのこれで本当の意味で任せられるわ
Hell yeah. Sensei.
君を呼んで